Wow, what's been going on the last couple of weeks in Iran? Those people are so courageous, brave to take on the regime for their freedom. I mean, I can't say enough about the people of Iran. And as I've been mentioning, I've been checking out Goldie's channel and 2CTV, who are doing tremendous. They're just doing a great job. But some of the things I tried to help as much as I could, DMing, and it seems like it was futile at times. It really was. And also, I noticed that unless you do a super chat or you're a member, you're pretty much, nobody pays attention. So we're not going to do that here. Absolutely not. Because I've never done it about that. But anyway, they're still doing a great job. Because I was capturing stuff yesterday when I captured the Shah D-267 plane over Jordan. That could have been the Shah. And I sent images. Not even a response. Not even nothing. So, and there's a lot of other things that are going on. Like today, earlier in Iran, I have to go on TikTok live still. Earlier in Iran, the parliament, they said if they were attacked, they would hit U.S. bases. And they also chanted death to America. Of course, you knew that's coming. But they said they would strike back at U.S. bases. Now, let me just change this because this is not the title I want today. And the description. Will the president help Iranian people as he promised? As promised, if evidence of mass casualties. I gotta be careful when I write a description on in Iran. Gotta be careful how I do things on TikTok. It's different. And we are now live on TikTok. Now, yesterday there was a lot of interesting information coming out. Lindsey Graham was posting some interesting stuff. Ted Cruz. I was keeping an eye on all of them. And Reza Pahlavi, which at 10 a.m. this morning on Fox News, on Maria's show, he's going to be a guest. And so is Lindsey Graham. And yes, they're going to have Noam on as a guest. But the main focus for me is what's going on in Iran. Because I literally think something's going to happen. Now, I checked. The carrier group is still near South China Sea. It would take a week almost for it to get to the Middle East. So I don't know, unless there might be something going on that I'm not aware of. I don't see any carriers in the Middle East. That's one. Hold on, Storm Chaser, and good morning. So I have not seen any evidence, but how would I, would they tell us that there's any strike carrier groups near the Persian Gulf or near Yemen or the Sea of Oman? I have not seen any of that. And I don't know necessarily what's going on off the coast of, say, Israel, in the Mediterranean. I'm sure there's got to be subs, etc. But as far as carrier strike groups, not so sure. I have been seeing a lot of movement on flight radar, C-17s, straddle tankers. The last few days, I'm sure you're aware that there was a strike in Syria yesterday. The Jordanians were part of it. It was a joint effort to strike ISIS in Syria. So there's a lot going on. Now, people might say, well, why don't we hit them already? Exactly why what they said in the Iranian parliament earlier. You have to defend and put the proper defensive countermeasures at our bases. Because you know, if you strike, they're most likely going to try to do exactly what they said, strike our bases. So you have to set up a defensive countermeasure there. And that's what they're doing. They're bringing in the assets, the THAADs, everything they have to bring in. Patriots, whatever it is, they got to make sure they protect our bases and our people, our soldiers, our military, our personnel. That is priority. And you have to have all these things in place. People are like, why aren't they doing anything? Why aren't they doing anything? Because you got to do it right. That's why. I'll check your... I don't think there's much going on, Storm Chaser. Because I don't want to be too distracted about the weather right now, because that's not my focus this morning, but I'll check really fast. But I haven't even been paying attention to the weather because I've been focused on Iran. There's nothing going on. There's a system to the west that might come in, but not today. You got a little wind going on. It's a little chilly in Cumberland. And yes, there's rain on the way. I can see it. There's a front coming through soon. It's not a strong front, but there's a front coming through. I'll show you very quick because, like I said, this is not something I really want to focus on right now. Here's the front right here. It's going to be pushing in. So you're here. So this system is going to be affecting you. You'll have showers today, pretty much. So there you go. Like I said, I'm not trying to get into the weather this morning. This is about what's going on in Iran. No offense, but it shouldn't be too bad. Alexa, what's the weather in Cumberland, Pennsylvania today?
It's a sunny 34 degrees in Cumberland right now. Today's high will be 41 with a low of 28. Partly cloudy and windy conditions throughout the day.
Windy. There you go, windy. There's a slight chance of a shower based on what I see on the radar. So there you go. Anyway, getting back on topic. So there's been a lot of things going on over last night. A lot of people posting stuff. You know how that goes. And like I said, there's a lot of... You got to be careful of the information coming out because it may not be true. Now, personally, I've seen some really graphic, horrific videos coming out of Iran. Now, there are estimates anywhere between hundreds or possibly thousands of people who have lost their lives. And I'm not calling them protesters. These are people fighting for freedom. They're not protesting. They're fighting. This is a revolution by the Iranian people. This isn't protesters simply on the economy like some of the media is trying to portray it as. No, this is a revolution. The people are uprising. We have to make that clear. This is not about that. And yes, yesterday in the embassy in the UK, and I'll play this video quick. It's been all over the place. This was yesterday. Someone went in, climbed up. Too late, security police. Look at this guy. He goes up to the embassy, the Iranian embassy. Look at this guy. Takes out the flag of the Lion and Sun and takes the regime's flag off and puts on the Lion and Sun flag. That's incredible. And there's the flags there. People are waving them. This is in the UK. That's amazing. That is amazing. Because there's so much propaganda out saying, oh, this is this. They're protesting about the economy. No, they want regime change. That is the old flag. They want Reza Pahlavi back. That's what they want. That's what they want. They want the regime to fall. They want freedom. They want democracy. They want the old Republic of Iran back. Look at him. That takes a lot of courage. Seriously. And blessings to the people of Iran. Because right now they are literally fighting for their freedom and risking their lives. Literally. Because hundreds, if not thousands, have already perished. So tonight at 6 p.m., Reza also said for them to protest about going out there. That's what he said. Go out there, join in mass numbers, go on strike. That's pretty much what he said. Not protest necessarily, go on strike. Hurt them where it really hurts in their economic sector. Walk off the oil fields, walk off energy areas, anything that affects directly the economy of Iran. And also to come in mass numbers together. Now, somebody brought up a point yesterday. A person made a really great point in Goldie's chat. What if they're saying for them to come together in a mass group so they avoid civilian casualties if the United States were to make a strike at night? Because it's going to happen at night. People think, oh, it's going to happen during the day. No, it's not. It never does. When have you seen the last time there was a strike during daylight hours? When? No. It's going to happen in the nightfall. It's not going to happen in the daytime. That would be ill-advised. When was the last... I mean, this if you take the exception of Ukraine out because they just completely... They don't care. They just send the rockets day, night. Russia. That's a whole different story. Which is an interesting thing because as this goes on, how does it affect Russia, China moving forward? Because this is not good for them. Because Iran, that's big for them to have that connection, asset, relationship. Look what Iran did, sending them, the Russians, the drones to use in Ukraine. Chinese oil relations with Iran and the Chinese support of militarized equipment as well. That's a major influence that they will be cut off. And India, too. This is very significant, and that's just for them. Can you imagine how this affects the whole Middle East moving forward if the regime falls? My gosh. Yes, block. I pray for the people of Iran. Oh my God. I mean, how could you not? They're risking their lives, literally, fighting for freedom. This is something that should be admired. The courage and the bravery. If we're all about freedom and democracy, well, this is the example of it right now. In the 21st century, people rising, literally fighting for their freedom. This is, people could judge it from the outside like I'm talking about it. This is about the Iranian people. And the people that live in all over the world that are Iranians, that left for whatever reason. And have family back there and are so worried about the conditions and lack of communication, everything else. Can you imagine if you had a loved one in Iran right now and you don't know what the heck is going on because there's a blackout, other than thankfully Elon with the Starlinks, but I heard they're trying to block and jam the Starlinks now. They're doing everything in their power. And it's hard to get images coming out because of the lack of communications, comms. But I'll show you another video. And can we necessarily verify for sure that these videos were recorded when they say they're released and recorded? I cannot say that definitively. No way. But there's a date on it, and this is Mashhad last night. There's a date. Doesn't mean anything because anybody can put anything, but I believe this to be credible. And this is last night. They're firing on us. And they don't want this. Of course, they're going to black out. When there's a blackout, why is there a blackout? Because they don't want people to see what's going on in their country, what they're doing. Of course, there's going to be a blackout. It makes total sense. They don't want the world to see what they're doing. And they're out there and they're shooting. What's this now? In the time of AI, we don't. That's true. With the time of AI, very, very difficult. That's a major problem. AI. Major. But again, I would say any video that I put up on the screen, take it with a grain of salt, though I believe this to be, I'm not saying I know this to be. I say I believe this to be credible. I cannot say that definitively. I would not be foolish to say something definitively like that because I don't know for sure. How do we know? So we have to be careful. Well, I have to be careful posting any of these videos. And like I said, a lot of this is regurgitated from the last few days, a lot of this information. And I've been on track. Let me see if Lindsay or Ted Cruz, if they've been posting anything. Because I've been watching them. Okay, he just posted that. All right. This because he said something last night. Nothing since last night. All right, let me look at Lindsay because Lindsay's been active. Lindsey Graham. He's been pretty close with the president on this. And he's been posting. Lindsay got to be careful not to put out too much out there, I would say. Oh my God, I clicked the wrong one. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. Not that Lindsay. We want this Lindsay. Okay, hold on. Okay, so it's been since last night. I'll show you what Lindsay was posting last night. And this is what the president posted on Truth Social yesterday. It does look real. I know, but check it out what he posted. Freedom now, as usual, Mr. President, you are right. Freedom now, freedom forever for the long-suffering Iranian people. And you can see what he wrote there because I don't want to say that on TikTok. Unalive to the Ayatollah's regime, make Iran great again. But this is what Ted Cruz had posted last night. And this is what they were drawing too much into it. May the unalive to America crowd meet their 72 virgins tonight. And they were taking too much into this word tonight. Doesn't say it was going to happen. May is a key word. May it happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. That's first of all. And you could see he was posting a lot. This is what he had put. You know, he's been on it. Lindsey Graham putting stuff. So there's been a lot of. The president has been posting on Truth Social. Keep an eye on that. But I've been keeping an eye on certain individuals and what they're posting on X. Now, The president really, you'll see reposts of his true socials on X, but he doesn't necessarily put stuff on X directly. It's reposts a lot of the time. So that's something to take in consideration. He doesn't really put a lot in there. Now remember, this morning in about an hour and 15 minutes on Fox News, Reza Pahlavi and Lindsey Graham will be on the show, Maria's show. I definitely want to tune into that. I don't know if Pahlavi said anything recent now this morning. I'm going to check. No, this was last night. So this is what the Crown Prince said last night. Know that you are not alone. Your compatriots around the world are proudly shouting your voice, and you must surely see images of their numerous and widespread presence through your television screen. The world today stands beside your national revolution. That's exactly what it is. Not protesting. It's a revolution. Not like the media is trying to spin it. And admires your courage in particular. President Trump, as the leader of the free world, has carefully observed your incredible bravery and has announced that he is ready to help you. Do not abandon the streets. My heart is with you. I know that I will be by your side. So he's probably heading to the region in the event that something may go down. And here's more. And I'll read it because obviously it's translated. By your widespread and courageous presence in the streets across Iran, the third consecutive night, last night, you have severely weakened Khamenei's repressive apparatus and his regime. Reliable reports have reached me indicating that the Islamic Republic is facing a severe shortage of mercenaries, which they're bringing in from Iraq, Syria, wherever they can get them. They're trying to get their proxies to come in and help deter the revolution by the people. To confront the millions of people in the streets. And so far, many armed security forces have left their workplaces or dissipate orders to suppress the people. What remains for Khomeini is a minority of violent mercenaries who, like their criminal leader, are non-Iranian and anti-Iranian and consider you, the great nation of Iran, their enemy. Know that they will face consequences for their actions. While reiterating my second call for 6 p.m. today, Sunday, I ask all of you to go to the main streets of the cities in groups with your friends and family members. Along the way, do not separate from one another or from the crowds of people. And do not take to side streets that could endanger your lives. Now, this, you could read a lot into this. That's what I was saying yesterday. Somebody mentioned it in Goldie's chat. Could he be saying that to stay on the main streets because they may be trying to target with strikes other areas? By trying to keep them somewhat safe? I don't think anything's going to happen tonight because of all the people that are going to be out there. It could happen tomorrow night. That's just my guess. I don't think they would actually do anything unless they just hit IRGC targets across the country, away from cities, or somewhere away from all this stuff that's going on, because you cannot harm any civilians. You just can't with any kind of strike. That is no way possible. Know that you are not alone. Your compatriots around the world are proudly shining voice. So I read this already. So it's going to happen soon. It's 8.5 hours ahead of me. So right now, what time is it? Alexa, what time is it in Tehran, Iran right now?
It's 5:15 p.m. in Tehran right now.
5:15. So people are already gathering in the streets in Iran for this fourth night. You know what's going on right now. And I'm praying for all of them. And you know what? I know I've seen too. I've been paying attention. Who was it? Garcia from California and Goldman, I think that's his name, from New York, are showing support. Democrats. I've only seen two. I haven't been searching. This should not be a partisan issue. This should be bipartisan support for Iran. Now, I haven't been paying attention to the political side here. That's not my focus. But I did notice a couple of tweets, I still call it tweets, by them. So we'll see. I would hope that the country is behind the people of Iran. I would hope. I'm not saying they are. I would hope. And remember, this has been going on for 47 years. How much money has the United States spent on deterrence, bases, putting carriers there, taking them out, putting them back, hitting Houthis, supporting, defending Israel on the last one that happened? How much money do you think that the United States has been spending over the years because of Iran and their proxies? People say, what's in it for us? Are you kidding me? It changes everything. The whole geopolitically huge major change in the Middle East. Huge. Peace established between Iran and Israel, because that's going to happen right away. That's not, if it happens, it's going to happen right away. It's not even going to be a hesitation. It's going to happen right away. He's going to declare peace with Israel, United States. It's going to happen so fast. And again, Russia's influence, China's influence diminished. Relationships with Saudi Arabia. Remember, Shia, the Sunni, even though they had their differences, they could still establish relationships and peace. This is huge. Goodbye money support for Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, all those proxies. Bye-bye money. This is so huge. And bottom line, the people of Iran. Because that's what it's really about, the people of Iran. We could look at it from a geopolitical point of view, how it affects us, how it affects them, how it affects this, how it affects that. It's about the people of Iran. Just like the people in Venezuela or anywhere else, living under a regime, a dictatorship. That's just my opinion. And yes, there's always this involved. We know that. We know that. You know that they're going to look to go in there, help rebuild, bring in tourism, oil, all that. We know that. That goes without saying, the money side of it, the investment side of it. We know that. But still, because I know people will mention that it would be correct. But at the same time, my gosh, it changes everything. And 47 may eliminate 47 years of oppression. 47. And like I've said this many times, this is not about if you like or dislike, support the president or not. He will go down in history. There's just no doubt, for bringing peace potentially to the Middle East. I mean, stability and peace to the Middle East. How many administrations have tried and failed? How many administrations have drawn a red line and looked weak? This, like I said, I'm not trying to make this political. I'm looking at this as a practical, because that's what I do, because I'm independent. I don't look at this from a Republican side or Democrat side. I look at this from the middle and try to be objective. And what I see, he will go down in history as one of the greatest presidents ever in modern times. I'm not saying World War II, that's a whole different story, but one of the greatest, 21st century so far. And I know a lot of people, there's a lot of other things that are going on. I'm talking about Iran. That would be undeniable. The people on the streets are pleading for him to help. The Iranian people are pleading. President Trump, please help us. Drawing his name, putting temporary placards, changing street names to the president's name. I mean, I'm going to read comments. Let's see what's going on. What's up, John? C-SPAN radio is a great place to catch all Sunday morning news shows. They cut out all commercials and put them together. Good listen while weekly meal prep and cleaning. Bill probably remembers the fall of the Shah. Yes. It actually started in 78. People who get that, it happened in 79, but it was starting in 78. And Jimmy Carter, what a mess. Oh my God. And then Reagan. And look, doesn't this look a little bit like the Berlin Wall? The fall of the Berlin Wall a little bit? Doesn't? A little bit? The hostage, yes. 444, yep. Yep, you're mentioning what I just said without looking at what you wrote. Yellow ribbons on trees, I remember that. I do remember that as a little kid. I do remember that. I was a little kid, but I remember it. Yes, Reagan. That's crazy because I didn't read your whole thing and you just wrote before what I said. So you were ahead of it. Let's see what, like George Carlin said, the world is a freak show and America has the front row. Yeah. My gosh, can you imagine? Go look at the old clips of what it was like pre-79 in Iran. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. And Goldie has been showing on her channel a lot of those clips. She does it at the beginning of when she starts her stream. She does the whole thing. But you see that, it's like, wow, look at the way Iran used to be. So, again, and here's an example. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Iran back in the day. Look, women allowed to dress like this. The Shah. Relationship with the United States and Israel. Now, they want a republic. He would be a symbolic figure as king, but he's not going to rule as king. There will be a republic, a parliament. People are starting to freak out on that. Like he's going to become the new dictator. That's not what's going to happen. It will become a republic for all the people, and everyone would have a voice. And there's a lot of propaganda out there that he's going to come in and become the ruler and like a dictator. And that's his son, by the way, the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. And you have to see the future queen. She's beautiful. She's amazing. Look at Iran. Look at Iran back in the day. And remember, this is an ancient culture of science, art, music, technology, science, everything. This is a culture, an ancient culture, a rich culture. And you know, they have a lot of pride in culture and diversity. Not under this Islamic regime, they don't. Ah, look how, that's awesome. His queen. Look at that. I mean, that's... Aren't they? Block. I see what you're writing. I got to be careful because I'm on TikTok, but I agree with the comment. You got to see the queen, the future potential queen. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can pull up an image. She would be the future queen. He would be the king for now, but wait till you see the future queen. Have you seen her? Excuse me. She is, wow. And they're showing the Shah's wife. All right, I'm going to have to look it up a different way. put it that way. Reza Pahlavi's daughter. And she is potentially, hold on. And this is an older picture. What's the date on this? She's married now. I don't want to show that one. Well, these are his daughters. I'll just show his daughters of the Crown Prince. Check this out. These are his daughters. Now remember, the eldest. That's the Crown Prince's daughters. So I believe it's her. It could be the future queen. There you go. So again, there's a lot to keep an eye on here. And like I said, literally in a half hour, it's 5:30 p.m. in Iran right now. Right? Right, Block? That's why I wanted to show you. It's about to go down again tonight in Iran, the fourth night. It's been a blackout pretty much. Thankfully, Elon did what he did to give them free access, but they're trying to crack down on that Starlink right now because they don't want information coming out. Heck no, no way. They don't want the world to see what's going on and what they're doing to their people. Using live fire. I've heard grenades. I've heard all kinds of things. I'm like, oh my God. This is just crazy. I'm seeing if there's any other, because remember, a lot of these videos occurred last night. That just says January 2026, so that's not going to tell me a date. I showed that one earlier. This was last night, and they were flying drones to observe the crowd. This was last night. This was last night, and they were flying drones overhead. The Iranian regime. They even cut the power, electric. Go to work, Block. Have a great one. You have a great Sunday as well, and have a great day at work. While the Persian kingdom is different, I can't imagine peace as long as theocratic regimes rule every country. You don't see that changing anytime soon. I do see definitely peaceful relationships establishing between the Arab world with Persia, with Iran. I do. They're definitely, put it this way. Do you think it's going to be worse or better than it is right now? You got to remember, the Saudis have been fighting separatists in Yemen. They've had a war, because those are proxies. The Houthis are proxies of Iran. It's a Shia Sunni thing too. So they cause a lot of instability in the region, Iran, with their proxies. You remove that element, things start to settle down. And I guarantee, it's not just the Abraham Accords. You're going to see a lot of negotiation to create more stability in the region. I mean, if you think about this, the Saudis were thinking about having a nuclear program because of what the Iranians were doing. There was going to be a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. Not to say that that can't still happen, but I think this changes everything. Personally, I think it changes everything. Now, peace doesn't come overnight because you're going to still have factions that are going to, let's just say the Shah takes over, or the son of the Shah, but the king takes over. You're still going to have a lot of extremists that would love to overthrow him or worse. You know what I mean by worse. So it's going to take time to create a stable government. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time. And there's going to be a lot of factions out there wanting to overthrow that. So, and the United States is hitting targets in Syria. You could see there's all kinds of things going on. The Saudis have been taking Yemen back. There's a lot of things going on at once in the Middle East. The word is the Iranians put a hit on the new leader of Syria because he's negotiating with Israel. There's a lot going on here. So it's going to be fragile, to say the least. But there has to be a starting point. It has to be from the ground up. It's the only way it happens. But you can't be afraid of change. You have to be brave like these people are and fight for change. Because if you just say, if you're a defeatist and you just give up, then it'll never happen. You might as well not even try. If you know what I mean. So I don't know what the 14th night of the Iranian. This is old. Okay, I'm being careful on the videos. That picture has been going around all over the place. I cannot show anything graphic. Oh my God. There's a lot of horrible graphic, again, not to be confirmed, but they're saying that the hospitals are overflowing. It's bad. If true, we don't know. But that's what the reports are coming out. What's this? 1 hour ago. So this allegedly is what the headline is saying from this post an hour ago. And it's daytime. This was taken today. The Islamic Republic security forces set shops on fire and rushed northern Iran, claiming it was done by people who took to the streets. Bullshit. Most of the burned shops belong to owners who had closed their businesses as a sign of protest against the regime. So they're not going to burn those shops. Do you know what they were doing with the food? They were taking the food out that was supplying the IRGC. They weren't stealing the food. They were throwing it on the streets to let it rot. Those people could have used that food, but they didn't. Here's some images coming in from today, earlier in Iran. So you can see the amount of fires going on. And they're trying to blame this on the people, that they did this. That's what they're trying to put this, like, blame it on the, I don't want to call them protesters, but that would be really not right. The anti-regime people of Iran. So this is what they're saying, that they did it. Bullshit. They're not going to burn their own businesses. They are burning police stations and infrastructure and IRGC motorcycles, security force motorcycles, buildings that belong to security forces, or, yeah, they're burning that. Or anything that has to do with Khomeini. They're burning that. Or statues, yeah. It's unbelievable. That's why you got to be careful too, because propaganda. And it's hard to filter propaganda. And AI, like Block mentioned. Got to be careful. That's old. Let me check flight radar, see if anything's going on quick. Any movements? It's good to have 4 monitors, I can tell you that. In a situation like this, it's good to have 4. See if anything's coming out of Qatar. Oh, there's one. What is that? That's probably a C-17. Moose? What is this? It is. It's a C-17 probably coming to land in Qatar right now. They're moving a lot of assets in. I've seen 3 C-17s around Qatar last night. There's been a lot of that. And a few Stratocast tankers, but that's been common because I've been watching their flight path, and it's a common flight path. I'm seeing if there's any of the Stratotankers around. I'm not seeing anything. Another thing, too, as long as the airspace is open and you see a lot of planes in the air, you know nothing's going to go down, because you would start to see a lot of these planes not fly over eastern Iraq and near western Iran because they've been told, stay out, something's coming. And there's still a lot of air traffic here. Not to say that it can't come from here in. I don't see that. Another thing to keep an eye on, and I don't think they're going to get involved, is the RAF. There is one right there, an RAF. That's their base right there. It looks like it's heading back to the UK. So that is, what type? That's a Voyager. That's a tanker. That's one of their tankers. But it looks like it's heading back toward the UK. Because the UK is way up to the corner. If we zoom out, it looks like it's heading in that general direction. Heading back that way. All right, so you can see nighttime. It's starting to get dark in Iran. See it? Let's see what's coming in and out of Tehran. I don't think that's just flyover. Yeah, that's a flyover. I don't think these Air Dubais are going anywhere near that. I don't think so at all. This one might be. Yep. Tehran. This one's coming in. I'm also looking to see if any Russian, and there was a Chinese earlier from Shanghai. That's Dubai. So I've been keeping an eye on this too. But there's still a lot of air traffic here. Even here. So if this starts to dwindle and they start to take an alternative route, that could be an indicator something's about to pop off. Right now, there are no indications of that occurring. Not based on flight radar. Because the air traffic, civilian air traffic, would be rerouted, diverted. There was activity here yesterday too. There was a U.S. U.S. Navy drone. The MQ-4C was flying around near Oman. I saw that yesterday. Down here, I was like, what? What is that? And it was a drone. And it was right in this area. And those can stay in the air for 24 hours. Now, that was last night, so I wouldn't even know where to look for it. Oh, what's this? Another. U.S. Military or government. It's a clipper, though. Where would this be heading? Really? Into Africa? Where the heck did it come from? Oh, that's another thing we have to keep an eye on. Is this base. It's an airport. We have to keep an eye on so many different things here. I'm keeping on the RAF base here in Cyprus. Well, in Greece, not in Cyprus, but this is a RAF base right here. Not that the British are going to get involved in this. I don't see that. But I still keep an eye on what they're doing. Because they've been going into Syria. And just a reminder, in about 45 minutes on Fox News, the Crown Prince will be interviewed. And Lindsey Graham. Just saying. I'm just saying, because a lot of the activity, there is some activity from a base here in Bahrain. Right here. The air base. Something to keep an eye on. See? See that? That's one, but the main base is right here. This one. It's funny how they took them off now. You would see a lot of U.S. activity, but they're not even doing it now. That's kind of interesting in itself. Here comes that C-17 Moose coming into land in Qatar. It's definitely coming into land at this base. Definite. You could probably see the altitude drop. It's at 11,950 right now. See, the altitude is dropping. He's coming in to land. They've been doing a lot of this the last few days. There's a lot of logistical support going into Qatar. Probably to help defensive posture for the bases. They're probably going to protect this base big time because it's one of our main bases in the region that we use. So they're probably doing a lot of defensive measures here to protect this base. If I was to guess. They have to do whatever they can. And, you know, Iran may look at Qatar as taking sides with the U.S. and saying you're allowing the United States to use your base in your country to attack us. And they may try to attack Qatar. I'm just saying. We don't know. So you got to, it's not just the bases. I mean, I know there's a lot of mixed feelings dealing with the country of Qatar. The one country that needs to be removed from NATO is Turkey. Turkey needs to go. Enough with Turkey. Turkey has to go. Why they remain a NATO country is beyond me. But Turkey has to go. That's just my opinion. But that's a whole story for another day. And hello to all those on TikTok, by the way. So yeah, I'm monitoring this, but right now we have to watch another night. Well, not really watch because we don't really know what the heck is going on in Iran because of the blackout with comms. But tonight, it's starting like now. It's almost 6 p.m. And 6 p.m. is when the people were to gather in mass numbers together. That's what the Crown Prince said. Join together. Stay together. Don't go off side streets. Stay together. That's happening right now because it's about 5:45 in Iran p.m. So it's happening right now again. Another night. And like I said, we don't know exactly the information coming out of Iran. How many people have lost their lives, the casualties, but I hear anywhere from the hundreds to thousands across the country. And the president said, if you fire upon them and in mass numbers, because I will rescue and help them. We're locked, ready, loaded. So I mean, it's happening now. It's already happened. A lot of people have lost their lives already. I mean, what is the threshold? What number? Is there a number that it takes to step in, as you said you would, to help the people of Iran? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? Is it 5,000? Now, that's a rhetorical question. The question is, we need to prepare and protect our bases, our military personnel, even the countries that we have the bases in, because they're going to go after them. And it takes time. Like I said, the last I know is that the other carriers were near South China Sea because of what China's been doing with Taiwan, with war games. So we have the assets there. It's going to take time for them to go west toward the Middle East, Persian Gulf area, near Yemen, to be positioned. Forget about going to the Caribbean. That's a longer Red Sea trip. They need to get to just south of Yemen, where they were before, to be positioned. That's going to take time. It could take a week. Do the people of Iran have a week? Or are they just going to launch a bunch of Tomahawks and cruise missiles from planes? We saw what happened Midnight Hammer. A bunch of Tomahawks, because you know there's subs in the area. You know there's aircraft in the area. There's tankers in the area. That's what I see. I don't know necessarily about aircraft. Too many aircraft being used. I think it's going to be a bunch of cruise missiles. Launched either by sea, subs, or by aircraft. That's what I see. There is definitely not going to be no boots on the ground. That's for sure. No way. People are saying, oh, they're going to drop in special ops. Special forces are going to go in. Look, it would be naive to think that right now on the ground, the CIA and Mossad they've been there for God knows how long, and they're not helping assist the people of Iran. It would be naive to think that they're not. We already have assets there. Wouldn't that make sense? It's also for logistics, intelligence. So it's not going to be boots on the ground, paratroopers, all that. No, it's going to be airstrikes. I don't know what all of you think in TikTok or on these other platforms, but I don't see that happening. I think it's just going to happen from aircraft and possibly subs. I don't know what other ships we have in the area. Well, all I'm saying is I would, look, let's just think about this. We know how other past presidents have drawn a red line and it meant bullshit. This president does not bluff. If you think that the president's going to back down when he says something, just like Rubio said and others, he means it. Take it serious. Don't call his bluff. And that's why Lindsay said, this is not Obama. This is not Obama. Do you really want to risk it? When the president says something, you know the Iranians are freaking out right now. Another thing to keep an eye on, would they be so desperate to launch an all-out attack on Israel? To try to disrupt all this? And because here's the thing, they're going to try to say, oh, look, the Zionist regime is attacking us. Because Israel retaliate. You think that's going to persuade the people at this point? A lot of the people in Iran right now would not mind Israel attacking the IRGC because it's going to help them. They're like, bring it! Bring it! Let them hit it! It's like, that's the despotism that you got to be careful with, though. Would they lash out if they knew that an attack is imminent? Would they try to attack first? Israel's definitely on high alert. I actually put my red alert thing on my phone for Israel, just in case something happens. It'll go off. I don't know if people use that in the past. That app, I have mine activated because that'll alert me. If Israel puts up any alerts, it comes up on my phone. It's a very annoying tone, but it just keeps me on point. If something's going on imminent that they put up these alerts, something's gonna. So I have that active. God willing, nothing gets crazy like this. Another thing too is they may not have, and I'm speculating completely, they may not have a nuclear bomb, but could they put together a dirty bomb? Or some kind of chemical weapon? There's a lot of things to take into consideration here. It's not simple. So this is a very, very, I mean, this is very, I don't even know, there's so many words I could use. This is scary, actually. But really, it's the poor people of Iran that are literally fighting and losing their lives. And not only that, think about this. Let's say the regime doesn't fall. Do you know what I saw yesterday? There's IRGC or security forces. They're not doing anything, but they're filming everything. They're identifying all the people they can on camera so they can track them and get them. That's why they're not doing anything. They're filming the people. They're trying to get as many people that they can on camera so they can use their AI technology or whatever to identify them and go after them. Do you realize what's going to happen if the regime does not fall and all those people that are out there, it's millions across the country, they're going to go after these people? Think about that. So, I mean, they are literally putting their lives at risk by going out there. Women, men of all ages, children. And they are risking, literally, their lives. So that's how serious it is. If this regime stays in power, oh my God, the ramifications after this would be horrific, horrific. Horrific. I don't want to speculate, but it wouldn't be good. Let's just say that. So there's a lot at stake here. It's almost at the point of no return right now for these people. Excuse me. I'm still a little dealing with the flu. But I'm still trying to find the energy to do this because I feel this is very important. I just don't think it. I feel it's so important. And remember, in about 35 minutes, which I cannot cover it because it's copyrighted, on Fox News at 10 a.m. Eastern on Maria's show, she's going to have the Crown Prince on in an interview. And also Lindsey Graham. Whatever you think about Lindsey, I'm just saying, they're going to be interviewed. And as he's being interviewed, now I don't know if this is a live or recorded interview, but if it's live, it's actually going on live as the night begins in Iran. What is the prince going to say in connection to what's going on currently in Iran in real time? That is going to be a really interesting interview to watch and to listen to. 10 a.m. this morning on Fox. Now, yes, there's going to be Kristi Noem's going to be on. There's going to be other people on the show. So I don't know if they're going to put them first, Reza after, the Crown Prince after, Lindsay after. I don't know what their order is. But pay attention to that. See what the Crown Prince says. Where is he? Obviously, they're not going to give out his location because they would love to know that. Aren't you glad we have the Second Amendment? Oh, yes. Yes. Could you imagine if the Iranian people had a Second Amendment? The right to bear arms? They wouldn't be throwing stones. There were dump trucks dropping off stones in the middle of the street so they had something to do, to throw. They were going around with dump trucks, dumping stones in the streets to use as weapons against the regime forces. I think when you say that, I think of the movie Red Dawn. You know? How'd that go in the movie? I know it's fiction, but that's what I think of right away, Red Dawn. But yeah, there's a lot going on. And if anything, because I'm going to go watch Goldie, and Tusi's going to be live today. I know Goldie's going to be live. If she's not already live, she's going live. She's been streaming for hours and hours and hours for the last few days. Tusi's been on it too. Actually, Tusi was on with her yesterday. And it was funny because a lot of us were going back and forth in the two chats to tell Tusi to go on with her, and he did. Not saying that I had anything to do with it, but a lot of people are talking about that. I'm seeing if there's anything else. See, a lot of these videos are redundant and old. Let me just check, because Lindsay's going on soon. Let's see if he's posting anything. Let's see if he's posted anything this morning. 13 minutes. Oh. Oh. This is interesting. So the president posted, Cuba lived for many years on large amounts of oil and money from Venezuela. In return, Cuba provided security services for the last two Venezuelan dictators, but not anymore. Most of those Cubans are unalived from last week's USA attack, and Venezuela doesn't need protection anymore from the thugs and extortionists who held them hostage for so many years. Venezuela now has the USA, the most powerful military in the world by far. To protect them and protect them, we will. There will be no more oil or money going to Cuba, zero. I strongly suggest they make a deal before it's too late. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President JT. To which Lindsay posted 13 minutes ago a reply and reposted that. My advice to the commies running Cuba and oppressing its people, call Maduro and ask him what to do. If you can get through that is. Ha! That's what they're saying right now. That's what Lindsay just posted. So, and I've been saying, watch Cuba. Without that, and their economy is already fragile, you might see some unrest in Cuba soon. I'll just say it like that, unrest. But there's so much going on. There's so much going on. But like I said, my focus right now, like many who are paying attention, is Iran. When and if the United States decides to strike targets, IRGC, security forces in Iran, what would Iran's reaction be? Would they even have a chance to react? They know it's coming. They must be paranoid, freaking out, knowing that it's coming. And this is what it's about right here. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, because Rubio said yesterday the United States supports the brave people of Iran. There's been a lot of different posts by different people in support. I wonder what people would think. And we're going to have to do this on another broadcast. Would you, personally, I'm just saying, for me, Rubio 2028. And remember, I'm an independent. I'm not feeling J.D. Vance. I'm feeling Rubio. That's just me. It's just me. I would not mind seeing Marco Rubio president in 2028. I'm just saying that's on my own personal opinion. Because I don't know what the other side has to offer. And remember, I'm an independent. I'm saying that objectively, fairly, from my own personal perspective. Right now, got to see how everything plays out, of course. But we'll see how that goes. That's for another time. Because, like I said, I have to look at both sides and see what both sides are putting out there. And I can't make that call right now. But I don't even know what the Democrats are going to do as far as who they're going to put to run in 2028. Newsom? Like I said, this is a conversation for the future. It's not about now. But I'm starting to already think about that personally. Could you imagine? Could you just imagine, before I go, because I want to see Fox News, could you just imagine this? Look at this. This was last night. Just look at them. Look at all those people. God bless them all. God bless the people of Iran. They are fighting for their freedom. That's what freedom looks like. A revolt against oppression and dictatorship. They want their country back. They don't want that Islamic bullshit anymore. They haven't wanted it for a long time, the people, but they've been oppressed. And I salute those people. I pray for them. And I hope they find their peace and freedom. Which they deserve. So, I mean, my gosh. How could you not? How could people ignore this? Unless you're an extremist. This is the only way. If you're an extremist, do you know that Islam makes up, it's a minority actually? It's a very diverse country. There are Christians in Iran. They're underground, but they are. It's a very diverse atheist. It's a very diverse country. Everybody might think it's an Islamist country. No. It represents a small number of the total population. Alexa, how much of Iran are Muslim?
About 99% of Iran's population
that's a bad question.
is Muslim.
How many support Islam?
About 26% of the world's population, or nearly 2 billion
Alexa,
people,
stop. In Iran, Alexa, in Iran, how many people are Islamic?
About 2 billion people, or 26% of the world's
not going to give me the
population,
answer.
are Muslim.
Alexa, stop. It's diverse. I'm going to have to look it up before I leave because I'm getting off. Let's see. Oh, God, it's trying to make me pay. It's hiding the number. It's too funny. It's actually blocking. Okay, this was a survey done by Netherlands-based institute found the majority of Iranians would vote for either regime change or structural transition away from the Islamic Republic. Only around 20% of respondents want the Islamic Republic to remain in power. And this is before, this survey was as old. Opposition is strongest among young, educated, and urban Iranians. More than 74% of university graduates rejected the Islamic Republic. So I can't get the actual number right now. Hold on, let me see if this one would. This is actually a paper. It's in Persian. I would have to translate it. My God. This is old though. But the number is you'd be surprised. It's not what you think. Oh my God, it wants to do an account again. Stop it. See, everything here is how much support the regime, blah, 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 blah. That's not what I want to see. Let's just try it this way. And then I'm going because I'm watching Fox News. Iran is predominantly a Shia country where Sunnis and Sufis are minority Muslim communities. It breaks it down. Christianity in Iran is as old as the Christian faith. Christians have always been a minority, earlier overshadowed by the Zoroastrians and now the Muslims. Most of the Christians in Iran are ethnic Armenians, and there is a small Protestant community which resides in the country. So it breaks it down. There's it's very diverse. This is a study I'm going to have to do at a later time because this is not the time to look at this. But it's extensive. It's something to look into. You'd be surprised. Alexa's giving me the right answer for the world. It keeps telling me there's over 2 billion worldwide. Yes, it's giving me the answer for worldwide. It's not breaking down the numbers in actually Iran because Iran has many sects of religions, even Jewish. That was a number for the world, over 2 billion Muslims. That's not addressing Iran. There's not over 2 billion in Iran. I think Iran has 80 to 90 million people in the country. You got to be careful with this device too. Okay, let's see this. It is predominantly Muslim. It says it here though. Okay, this is what it's saying. Shia Islam 90 to 95%, Sunni 5 to 10. The majority of Muslims in Iran, but this is talking about Muslims specifically, are Shia. Sunni Muslims are primarily found among ethnic groups such as Kurds, Turkmen, and Arabs. Recent surveys suggest a shift in religious identification amongst Iranians. This is 2020. A 2020 survey indicated that only about 32 identified as Shia. Nearly 50% of respondents claimed to be non-religious or had lost their faith. That's true. There's a lot of atheists, agnostics in Iran. We're talking about the whole population. That's why I say you got to break out what the breakdown demographically is in Iran. It's not what you think. And it says it here. However, the actual religious beliefs may be more complex because you have to break it down. There's so many sects. It's secular, truly. So again, it's not as easy. It's complicated. Wow. The Shia makes up the most, though, at 32%. Again, this is coming from an old survey. And it's a little, it's probably changed now. Based on what I'm seeing on the streets, I think things are definitely changing. But, I mean, this is just one source. And again, this is an old, outdated demographic breakdown. Right here. It's very diverse. But though the Shia Muslim represents the biggest number. Religion 22.2, atheist A, Zoroastrian 7.7, spiritual 7.1, agnostic 5.8, Sunni Muslim 5.0. I mean, look at this. Jewish 5.4. It's diverse. There's a lot going on in Iran. 61% are Persian. 2% Arab. Look at that. But this is an old survey. It's 2020. We need something newer than that. Anyway, I am going to bail out. I'll keep an eye on this throughout the day. If anything breaking comes out, I will be back in about 10 minutes on Fox News on Maria's show. She's going to have the Crown Prince as a guest. Now, I don't know if it's a live interview or pre-taped, recorded. Lindsey Graham's going to be on. This is definitely, they're going to be talking about Iran. That's for sure. That's in about 10 minutes. 15 minutes. About 15 minutes. So if anything goes down, I will be back. Otherwise, I'm going to start watching the coverage around. That's a good one. I'll ask that before I leave. Alexa, how many Christian churches or Jewish temples are in Iran? They're underground.
There are at least 600 Christian churches in Iran. Would you like to know more about the different Christian denominations there?
600 churches in Iran. Christian churches.
Yes, there are at least 600 Christian churches in Iran.
Who would have thought that? I didn't think the number was that high. Good point. Excellent bringing that up, John. I would have never. Though, again, if you look at the size of Iran, Iran is huge. It's not a small country. Yes, we all need to pray for Iran. I totally agree. David on TikTok, definitely. My gosh, we need to pray for the people of Iran. And should be praying for them because of what's been going on over the last 2 weeks. But like I said, this is not a partisan political thing. I think Americans, we're all seeing, I don't watch the mainstream media normally. we should all be watching what's going on in Iran. And I know some of you may be watching are not fans of Fox News. This is not about all that. The Crown Prince is going to be interviewed. If you want to learn more about what's going on, it's coming from him himself, the potential future king of Iran if the regime falls. You should tune in. This should not be a political thing. We should all be paying attention to what's going on in Iran. And I know there's a lot going on in our country and in other places. But the president may be taking action against Iran, and it could be very soon, imminent. So if you want to get ahead of it and find out exactly, because I don't think the mainstream media is covering this properly. And people are going to say, oh my gosh, we just hit Iran. Well, if you haven't been paying attention, you wouldn't know. What's been going on? They're just going to tell people, oh my gosh, the United States just struck Iran. Well, why? Have you been not covering it? Or are you just going to throw it on the people's lap and say, oh my gosh, the president just struck another country, without getting into the context of what's going on, which is important. If they would be talking about it, because you know what they're all focused on now, probably. It's incredible. It's incredible. And that's why I don't watch MSM, because of that reason. They focused on one thing, and that's it. You'll see it 24/7. They keep regurgitating the same thing. We'll talk about the other stuff that's going on. I mean, like I said, later, if I come back, I would like to know, are they covering this on mainstream media? What's going on in Iran? Maybe a little bit. And they're just going to say we struck or something's happening in Iran all of a sudden, and not giving any background about why this just happened? Have you not been paying attention? No. No, of course not. Because they're not showing you. That is a disgrace, in my opinion. That's a disgrace. That they're not informing the American public about what the heck is going on. That our president may be literally going to save lives, literally, and the people of Iran. Are they afraid to give this man credit? Is it that ridiculous? I mean, let's be real. I know that people agree, disagree, blah, 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 with what he does, doesn't do. I get that. And I've seen a few Democrats posting on X supporting the people of Iran, but not going so far as to support intervention. But they are saying, oh, we support. How many times have we heard that? Oh, we support the people of Iran. It's just words. There's no actions behind those words. Well, the president's going to take action. That's just my own personal opinion. And you know what they say about that, right? Opinions? I'll keep it clean. Anyway, love to all of you, because I'm going to go watch. Love to all of you. Pray for the people of Iran. Pray for peace around the world. Pray for peace here in our country. But right now, like I said, I've been watching this Iran thing for quite some time now. And pray for peace. Pray for the people of Iran, because God only knows what's going on over there right now. And we'll see what happens. I will be back if something happens, like significant, major. I'll be back. Otherwise, be well, be blessed, be safe, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and